I want to make sure we talk about two things. One, it's a refi market, and I want to make sure everybody in this community is getting after it. So we're going to cover that in just a minute. It's more important than ever that we have a great digital experience, because first of all, not everybody is coming into your office. If you listen to my last interview with Josh, we talked about how to create connection, and we talked about it pure digital, because he's doing most of his business is consumer direct. Most of his business is online, and listen to that call. A couple cliff notes. Josh, are you still doing this where not only is every family getting a total cost analysis, because that's your digital way of delivering advice and options, but everybody you talk to is getting just a text-to-text video? Is that still part of your process?
Every new prospect, every buyer's agent, every listing agent, every time.
You got to be thoughtful of that. And that real world, in-person, human-to-human experience, okay, it is number one. It is the best way to connect. It is the best way to build lifelong relationships. But that's not your model. You can do a lot of things with video. You can do a lot of things with Mortgage Coach. And you can just do a lot by still showing up on the phone with that heart of, what's your story? What are your goals? And now I'm delivering options in a way that help you make your story better, that build that story and achieve your short-term and your long-term goals. So I just want to speak to that digital experience. Maybe we'll talk about that more in future calls. If you haven't watched my call with Josh, the interview, I'm going to put it down below. It's all about personal connection and advice in a digital world. Josh, let's wrap this up around refis. And Shayla, you and Josh riffed on this, but Josh, you're killing it with Mortgage Coach. How many times have you done a TCA over the past couple of weeks or months for a refi client? And tell us what you're doing.
Yeah, so our focus has really kind of split, and I was really one-sided for a long time because I enjoy purchase business so much more. It's a lot more fun for me to get somebody into a home for some reason than it is to refinance them. So I was very one-sided that way. But my coach, Tim Brahim, recently said, so, if you're not refinancing those clients, then you realize somebody else is. Do you not like your clients enough to want to follow up with them and to continue to take care of them? And that was really what I needed to realize, that we needed to shift some focus. So we've gone back and we've created a whole checklist of different messages and different media that we want to get to our past client database. So we're doing old school postcards. We're doing short little 30-second videos that we're doing on Facebook and Instagram to custom audiences to our past clients. We're doing phone calls. We're doing text messages. We're doing email pieces. We're doing economic pieces of news in our newsletter that talks about what's going on in the economy and how what we have right now is a perfect opportunity to get more efficient in your finances. In other words, if you have $200,000 in equity and $50,000 in consumer debt, you're very inefficient. And if we are, in fact, heading into another recession, which 86% of economists say we are within the next 2 years, 86% of economists say we are in the next 2 years, then now's the time to get lean and mean and financially efficient. And that's the message I want to take to my past clients. And it's something that I can get more passionate about, and I can put some energy behind. It affects me energetically a lot better because I can really see myself taking the role as a debt advisor versus I'm just trying to make a couple $1,000 on getting your rate a little lower. So I had to find kind of a philosophical reason that I aligned around, that I could add value in the client's life, and then I could get passionate about it and figure out, all right, I want 7 different messages, 7 different media. I want every single client to understand how we can improve their life and have a transformational experience. I stole that from a good friend of mine named Dave Savage. Create a transformational experience on their finance.
Boom. So guys, first of all, when why happens and you have a personal why, everything else gets figured out. So, I mean, did you hear what Josh said? And thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that, hey, I like purchase business. I like the chase. I like the hunt. And it wasn't until your coach made you created a personal why, and then you figured it out. And you, based on your model, based on your genius zone, which is creating content, delivering advice, you figured it out. So hopefully everybody got that. walk us through this TCA, and then Shayla, I'm going to let you ask questions and close out the call with Josh, but walk us through one REFI TCA, and then we'll close it up.
Yeah, well, there's 100 variations of this, but the general concept is this, guys. Right now, we have the highest amount of homeowner equity ever in the history of the United States, like ever, since the world was created. At the same time, we have the highest level of consumer debt ever in the world. So if we think about those things, we have record equity and record debt. And then we start to think about strategies to more efficiently align that debt. And then we overlay the concept that we might be moving into an economic recession in the next few years. Let's get more efficient with our finances. And that creates a great conversation. Nobody doesn't want to have that conversation. So this is a total cost analysis that I did for a realtor of mine just the other day. I copied it. Her name wasn't The Savage, by the way. That's a cognito name, just in case you were wondering. And what I did was I took her current mortgage trajectory at 4.875. We just closed this loan for her in December of 2018. And I said, listen, if you just refinance, by the way, this would all have been highlighted and there would have been a video on it when I actually sent it to the client. But since I just copied it for Dave real quick, there's no beautiful highlighting. But I said, listen, if we refinance you, not only can we get you down below 4%, in and of itself, that savings of $200 a month is a no-brainer. We should do this deal. But that's not really what I want you to think about. What I want you to think about is the wealth impact that you can have by reinvesting that $200 a month. So we take that $200 a month, we reattribute that towards principal reduction. So you continue making the same payment. You now pay off your loan in 25.58 years. And Dave, will you close out of there and go down to the 15 and 30 year? Because this is really what I wanted to cover with her, is that over the 15 years, this refinance is now going to save you $59,947. And she said, I'll be in my home longer than that. And I said, great. Well, then over 30 years, it's going to save you about $125,000 by this refinance. So I said, here's my piece of advice. You're a smart woman. You do whatever you want. But my advice is don't get lazy and make the minimum payment. You know, if we're going to refinance, keep making the same payment. Make this a $150,000 gain or $40,000 gain instead of a $70,000 gain. That's my advice as your debt manager at this point. Now this lady has no debt. She's very debt averse. So if she had debt, the other thing I would be looking at, if you guys look at the property value, I mean, she's got $550,000 in equity here. The first thing I would have done for her is to say, okay, list me out your debts and what are your monthly payments? Let's say she had $50,000 in debts and it was $800 a month. Then what I would do is I would have built another presentation, another option that would have showed her pulling out the $50,000. So her mortgage balance goes up. Her interest rate's now going to be 4.25 instead of 3.99 because we're doing a cash out refinance. But then I'm going to show the money she saved from the refinance plus the $1,000 or $800 a month in consumer debt that she's paying off. And now that's going towards principal reduction. And what would blow her mind is that she'd probably pay her loan off in something like 22 years and actually have less interest overall, and we'd get out of that debt situation. So it's a shift between loan originator and debt manager. That's the shift that we need to be making right now.
Shayla, any questions or comments for Josh?
I don't know. I'm so fired up. This has been such an amazing hour of my day, and we've been grinding hard. I've been at the office at 7:30 in the morning, and kissing my kids and sprinting out the door. And it's a really fun time that we're in. And I think right now what it's going to require, guys, is leadership. It's going to require managing your own energy, managing your team, being really strategic about your time. I was talking to one of my loan officers today who had a really nasty purchase client. And I was like, look, Katie, you're like 20 years into your career. You just paid off your house. You're trying to stay passionate about the industry. Just protect your energy at all costs, because there's so much opportunity right now and you have so many people to serve and to help. Serve the people you need to serve. Don't run around trying to deal with your self-esteem and your ego and, you know, let somebody rain on your parade, because we have too many people to help for that. And so I think leadership says, you know, how can we stay focused? How can we be really strategic in the way we reach out to our clients to educate them properly? How can we use these technology tools to really explain this so that we can get a quick yes instead of a ton of back and forth? I mean, this is requiring strategic thinking to be able to help the most amount of people. But the why is there. Josh, I'm so happy you covered that, because for all of us, it's a big shift in our teams that are used to purchases and having this process flow. But this is why you do the industry, so that you can build a database of clients, you can help them for life. And when opportunities like this come aboard, where you have max equity, mass debt, and low rates when we never expected to have them, going into an election year that is likely going to be bananas next year. 2020 is just, who knows how nasty it's going to be and how freaked out people are going to feel. Like, time is now. Make hay while the sun is shining. Help as many people as you can. Be strategic in how you figure it out. And I'm so stoked that we were able to squeeze that in. This was my selfish ask, because you two guys and Todd are the pro at this. And so thank you for sharing just that one strategy, Josh. And Dave, I know you'll springboard and serve so many more people around the world just because of this, you know, 5-minute conversation on that side. So thank you. I feel like, you know, I could be lazy. I'm 15 years in the business. I don't need any more money. I could do 10, 15 deals a month and pick the easy cherry pick ones and coast. But that's not what changed my life, the lineage of my family's lives, my kids' lives. It was a full-blown hustle and figuring out how to be the best I can be and continuing to be that person. And so as a leader, if I just rest and sit back and say, oh, well, I've got a database, I've got 300 million in my guild portfolio alone that I could just go cherry pick, I'm not serving my people well, Dave. And honestly, you know, with this internet lender and this consumer direct versus the local retail lender, we've got to get better and we've got to step up. And I just think that for all of our people, this is the greatest industry that doesn't require a college degree, and it doesn't require a fancy upbringing, and you can be whoever you want to be and build your dreams in this industry. And that's never got lost on me. And so for all of my loan officers that I have big dreams for them and they have big dreams for their life, like, use the tools and be a pro and step up your game daily, because you can change the lineage of your family and leave a legacy to whatever you want in this industry. But you're not going to do it by just hoping and praying that you get the deals. You've got to be aggressive and relentless in your improvement. So
love it. Well, it's good to have you in the community. You are officially here. Looking forward to our next interview. Guys, this is a wrap. Have an awesome weekend.